Hello, 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 and happy holidays. Welcome to Start the Beat. Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you about a show that is coming up in the Pittsburgh area on December 15th at Mr. Small's Theater. It is the Winter Wonder Ball featuring Back Alley Sound, Normal Creatures, Dream the Heavy, and Hemlock for Socrates. There's also going to be local crafts, local arts, local music. It's going to be a hoot. Tickets are only $15. You can actually get them directly through me and my band, Normal Creatures, who you may have noticed are playing, along with today's guests, Back Alley Sound, who are also playing. Again, tickets are only $15. You can get them from any of the bands that are playing, but it would be really cool if you got them through me personally. Screw everyone else. Buy the tickets through me. No, I'm just kidding about that. So I'm going to zip my lip and we're going to get into today's conversation with my friends in the band Back Alley Sound. Sit back, relax, and let's start the motherfucker. So, yeah, this is a podcast.
Oh, sweet.
So I guess it would probably be a pretty good idea if I did something like this. Hello and welcome to Start the Beat, the show where we highlight the past, present, and future of the Pittsburgh music scene. I am your host, Brian Sykes-Howe, and today we are sitting here with the one and only Back Alley Sound. Make some noise for the internet.
Guys, stop. Stop. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
That was genuine.
Well, you know, we got Shark and Miles from Back Alley Sound. I don't know how many fucking people are in your band right now. It fluctuates.
Currently 4.5.
Okay.
Four and a half.
So we'll say two fourths, half of Back Alley Sound is in the building.
That adds up.
Tight. Well, thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, totally glad to have you. We are here today not only in celebration of just general friendship and general creativity and peers in the Pittsburgh music scene, but also after a very, very long time, we are finally sharing a stage together again on December 15th at Mr. Small's Theater for the Winter Wonder Ball with you, me, Dream the Heavy, and Hemlock for Socrates. I'm really looking forward to this.
Us too.
It's going to be a good time.
By me, I guess I should say Normal Creatures. It's not just me. It's
Heard of
my
them?
band. A lot of people haven't. A lot of people were still like, so what's Sykes and the New Violence been up to? I'm like,
Amateurs.
I mean, we're still a band. We just changed the name, but it was during like the pandemic. So if you missed it, I guess that's fine. There was like some other stuff going on.
What are you referring to?
That didn't work. What a buzzkill.
I would have let it ride. I'm in.
I was ready for it.
Yeah.
I'll just put it in later and just pretend like you heard it.
Okay.
Right.
Worth it. Worth the wait, I would say. All right. Good night, folks.
Yeah. So, speaking of all of that and the weird time gap and things that have happened, I really haven't seen either of you gentlemen in probably like 2 years or so, which is kind of crazy to say.
Jeez.
Yeah, it has been that long.
That
When's
is
the last-
nutty.
Yeah, I really don't know the last time I saw you guys. Genuinely.
I think there was
think
some
there-
time at the Funhouse.
Yeah,
we
I was just
bumped
going to
into
say,
each
I think
other
I saw
real
you play a
fast.
show at the Funhouse.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
And that was
Remember
probably
that.
maybe like over a year ago now.
Yeah.
was that show?
Holy hell. I don't remember what we were doing.
I genuinely only think about that show in reference to being like, oh, I saw Sykes there for a long time. Like,
Yeah,
forever,
yeah.
I swear.
Yeah.
I forget who that show was with, and I'm so sorry if it was.
We talked about the
anybody
Mars
I
Volta
offended.
or something really fast.
I
And
feel
it was like, oh, I miss you too.
I don't think that there is a time that I don't see you, Miles, and the Mars Volta isn't brought up.
Oh, holy shit, that's real. Yeah. Although I missed their show and I was really fucking pissed.
Yeah,
about
I
it.
wasn't in town for it either. So, hey, what are you going to do? Yeah. Some things are meant to be, some things are not meant to be.
True.
So what has the band been up to in the past year or so? What have you guys been doing?
So I think the band was forced to go through maturing through a lot of different aspects just because we had to go through maturing in our personal lives. So it would definitely like have changed like not only our like approach to things, but also like our perspective on things has changed a lot, which, you know, I'd say is definitely more a good thing than a bad thing for sure.
Yeah, like it seemed like once COVID kind of wrapped up and then we started getting back into the swing of things, we all had very drastic changes in our personal lives. And it was a matter of kind of coming back home and being like, yeah, we love doing this, but we also have to account for this drastic change.
Mm-hmm, totally. You know, one of the things that I always loved about you guys was just that, you know, it was very obvious that there was this very like youthful, fuck it, let's do it energy. Everybody has more time than we should to just put into this. And it was always very much like, well, how long can that last? Mm-hmm. It's not sustainable, unfortunately.
Right. It doesn't matter what you're doing. There's going to be some kind of shift, whether it be family, career, anything.
Yeah.
Medical disaster, anything.
Yeah. And I'm, you know, I'm happy to see, though, that through all of the necessary adulting that the band has decided or been obligated to interact with or, you know, put into their lives, that the band is still a band.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was one thing that I think never really crossed anyone's mind as to like, we're going to stop the band. It was more like everybody had a group understanding that like, you know, I'm probably not going to be able to be there for like consistently for like months at a time. And like, it was always just an acceptance about that just because like, it was just so not on the table to like stop doing the band. I also like, I know probably everybody in the band just wouldn't have let that happen.
Right.
Totally. You know, I find that it's like, it's more common than it seems, you know, like with Grey Walker, we've had like weird ups and downs where it's like, oh, you know, somebody's moving or things like, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, we don't practice for like 6 weeks.
Right.
But it's like, fine. You know,
in a way, it's kind of cool because then you get back in the room, and it's like you've been there every day. And I know we have a lot of those moments where if we go a couple weeks without practicing, we come back in and all of a sudden we'll write for like 3 new ideas, or we'll wrap up that thing that we were beating our heads into the wall over in 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. And it's cool how that works.
Yeah, sometimes a distance from things can really make you like reconfigure why you appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Because like when you're in it all the time, you start to like, I mean, nobody should be doing anything all the time. And even if you're in something that you love, like a band, or maybe you paint or you listen to music, like you can't engage with it all the time.
Right.
You start finding like all these little nitpicky things about it.
You find all the
making
things,
it fun.
Everything that's wrong with it, or everything that is not fun when it's supposed to be like the most enjoyable thing that you can do, or the most creative outlet that you can have.
Yeah.
And like when like it is, when you like treat it like it's your whole life, then you end up not having any like life to channel into it. Which I think like we were just like a lot more like it's gotta be do or die just because like that's how serious we take it. But like we don't have to like taking it seriously and it being do or die are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Right.
So like we can still take it seriously, but like we don't like it doesn't have to be everything. And when you like kind of like when that clicks and then you start taking in everything else that you were like kind of like shielding out because you have like tunnel vision, you start just seeing it differently because you're seeing like just like a bigger view of it.
Right. I think everybody was kind of forced out of, if they were in that do or die mentality, the break and you know, a lot of terrible things came out of COVID. No one's going to sit here and say that it didn't, but you know, artists definitely experienced having that taken from them completely, where it wasn't a choice. You know, you had 2 or 3 years where even if you wanted to, you couldn't, you know, and it's wild to see how that's come back.
Yeah, it definitely changed the like landscape on a local level for sure. I mean, that's all that we know, but like it definitely like just after COVID came definitely not only because of that, but because of everything else, just changed how we just approached all of it.
Yeah. You know, the one thing that I always really liked about what you guys were doing in like a pre-COVID world was it seemed like there was a lot of by any means necessary sort of like, fuck it, like if there's a room, we got a PA, we'll make a show happen. We don't care if it's in the fucking grass, if it's in the back of like a our buddy's skate shop, or who knows, you know, I mean, you'll do it and make it a party, right? Do you find that you're still able to do stuff like that in a post-COVID world? Or has it been like harder?
We definitely did it less just because like we were just trying to focus on other things. But that's actually been in like the general conversation of the band is like kind of getting back to that just because it was fun. Yeah. And like they like shows like aren't like the like offers aren't like as frequent because it doesn't seem like they really happen too much anymore or as much, I should say.
It seems like a lot of things kind of not fell into our lap, but a lot of random places were just like, hey, we're going to do this. And I mean, how many times did we do like any kind of like First Fridays?
Yeah, there was a year that we did, I think it was 36 like weekends out of like 52 we had shows, which was like we were like, that was our second year as a band. So we just took everything.
Yeah.
Just because like it really like we really grinded our teeth on like a stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just don't think that like from my perspective, you know, with Grey Walker, it's a little bit easier in like the heavy metal community to get shows just because there's more bands that are doing that.
Right.
But with like Normal Creatures, that's a band that lines a lot more with Back Alley Sound.
Totally.
Where there isn't like a scene for us. Like we can kind of fit on any bill.
Yeah.
But also people aren't always reaching out to ask us to play shows, you know what I mean? Because like they want a show that makes sense for them, right?
Right.
So you kind of have to make the opportunities happen for yourself in a way.
Absolutely.
You know, now with Normal Creatures, like us being able to play shows again, because we hadn't for a while, just because we were like writing new songs and getting a drummer on board and all that stuff. Now we're ready to go.
Right.
As I already said, we're playing that show together. But, you know, I'm looking around like, you know, okay, like we played one show in July, one show a couple weeks ago at the end of October. We're gonna have this one show in December. So it's like one show every other month.
Yeah.
It's like I want to play a little bit more than that.
Right.
I don't want to do 36 weekends out of a year.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like I'm looking around. It's like I don't even know where the opportunities are. Like what makes sense for me. And, you know, another issue that I have, and maybe I don't know if you guys are there yet, but as I've found myself maturing, there's like some situations that like I just don't want to be in anymore because it's the bullshit. Like I mentioned that, you know, you guys like, hey, we'll bring a fucking PA and play anywhere. Like I don't want to drag a fucking PA anywhere anymore. I don't want to do that, you know. I prefer to play on like like an actual stage in an actual venue, not to sound like a diva.
We're a little more selective as well nowadays. Like, yeah, that is a lot of work, and not that, you know, when it's the right thing, it's like, fuck yeah, we'll do it.
Sure.
But yeah, there's times where, yeah, you don't want to drag everything, set it all up, hope that everything goes well. And, you know, it's some work.
It's stressful too. And it's like really hard, you know, to like, I don't know. I find that I want people that have never like seen my band before, or maybe they have seen us before. Like I want people to like take it seriously.
Yeah.
And like, I think sometimes it's hard when you're playing like a DIY pop-up show. If people just show up, they're just like, oh, this is just like a DIY band. And like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I want to be like, I want people to know that like what I'm doing is serious.
Well, and we
put so much time and work into this. You guys do the same fucking thing. We're rehearsing all the fucking time, writing these songs. And it's just like, I feel like I deserve better than this. Maybe like I want people
Right.
to know that it is something big.
Right.
It just sucks sometimes.
Well, it's just like, why put all the time and like energy, creativity into the like production of it? Like you, especially if like you're not even gonna like really take it in. Like it's just like it's this experience that you're like trying to like curate, and when like they're just like when it's just like something in the room, it's just like I don't know.
Yeah.
So, like I do totally get where
Yeah,
you're coming from.
but it's hard though, because it's like again, it's like you just gotta we have to like make these things happen for ourselves. There's no there like again, people not many people are like reaching out on a local level.
Right.
And it's even harder sometimes when like if I try to like reach outside of our circle, because it's like there's no communities for the type of stuff that I'm doing.
I get it.
You know? And also like I'm a little bit older too. And like the band's older, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, how do you find like communities? There aren't communities. Like as you like get older, the community starts to get smaller and smaller. Unless you
right.
want to play like shows with younger people all the time, which I don't have a problem with.
Or like you
But
have
it's hard.
a very dedicated sound, but we like there's a lot of genre blending going on. So like, you know, we're too such and such for this crowd, too so and so for
Right.
that crowd. So like, yeah, that definitely it makes me feel better, honestly, just because like I'm like, okay, well, like at least like I'm not trying to like I'm not being unauthentic. I'm not trying to cater
Totally.
to like a crowd, and like at least I know that like I'm doing something not different. It isn't the right word, but like I'm taking like some kind of like risk that like I get like I like when people like come and see it in the room. Like it's just different. Like and I can see it in like people's faces. It's just like when they like come and see it, because like on paper, like I do get why like we can't get like a real solid crowd. Like, or at least like a dedicated genre kind of crowd where there's
Right.
like a scene for it.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, like the people that they come to see us and are dedicated, they see
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
totally.
thing.
They
you know?
totally get it. And like, but it's so like that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's great to see people, and like, granted, like of course, like not everybody's gonna like, oh, dude, totally fine. But to see people when it clicks for them, and it's like, oh, I get what they're doing. That's sweet.
Yeah.
and that's what totally makes it worth
Well, I
it.
think that, you know, it works for you guys because like you are a live band and you're a very good live band and you're good at what you do.
Appreciate it.
And you know, I feel confident about my band as well.
Totally.
And it's
Yeah,
just
you
like,
should.
but the thing is like, you got to get on a stage and then people see it and it's like, oh, it makes sense.
Right.
Whereas like, you know, it's like I come from this background between having like Normal Creatures and having Grey Walker, where it's like Grey Walker, it's just like, hey, we're a melodic death metal band from Pittsburgh looking for a show. People are like, oh, sweet. I know what that is.
Yeah, totally.
We'll book you.
Right. You see,
And then like when it's like, oh, hey, we're kind of rap rock, kind of new metal, kind of an electronic band from Pittsburgh.
it's
People are like, what are you saying to me?
It's tough when you see that like written down, when as opposed to when you actually see it and you're like, okay, it's not X, Y, and Z. You know, you could take just rap and rock and a band and think of the stereotypical Limp Bizkits or you know certain aspects of things.
First of all, we are very Limp Bizkit-esque. Shouts outs to Fred Durst.
West Borland, man.
Yeah, I like to tell people that that we do stuff that sounds more like Linkin Park, but has a Limp Bizkit attitude,
Hell yeah.
but not the sound really. I don't know what the
Right.
fuck we sound like.
No, I don't. No, I could see why.
I don't really think we sound like either band,
No,
honestly.
we definitely don't sound like Limp Bizkit. I was totally kidding, but I would. But because of what we do, I get why, especially on paper, people would be like, "That's what it sounds like."
Right.
Yeah, I love it. It hasn't happened in a while, maybe just because we haven't really been playing so many shows. But I remember when Sykes and New Violence was playing a lot, there would always be like some older guy that would come up after a show and be like, "You remember Rage Against the Machine?"
No, never heard of them.
yeah, Paul or whatever your name is. Like, I remember Rage Against the Machine. I mean, it's like a positive thing, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
The thing that's interesting is like a lot of people that that maybe just don't listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what they know. You know,
Right.
they have to try to relate something to everything instead of just letting it be its own thing.
And it's at least there's a positive note in that, and that's that person's way of connecting. You know,
Yeah.
even if it is okay, oh man, you guys are like Linkin Park or whatever. Even if that's really far off base, at least they're, you know, that they're taking your art in.
Sure.
And they're not sitting there going, oh, well, fuck this shit or whatever it may be.
And it's also really interesting when somebody says like, oh, hey, like, yeah, that reminds me of Linkin Park or Rage Against the Machine. It's like,
really?
it's like, wow, people still listen to the radio. Like that's like I feel like that's what that is. Those are people who just still listen to the radio.
Yeah.
And that's like what they hear,
a good way
which,
to put it.
hey, shout outs to the radio.
Yeah.
I wish we had, I mean, actually we have a pretty decent radio situation in Pittsburgh. Some other cities are different.
No,
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Yeah, they
But-
at least in terms of rock. I mean, I don't know. I know that like Grey Walker's gotten some love from the X, and I know like some other bands like DVE's pretty good with like the bands that are more along the lines of like the Common Heart or like the
Right.
Buffalo Roses and all
Right.
of that. Like, you know,
But they do
the indie friendly.
They still
stuff.
support local music.
Yeah, it's still
which
local
is-
music regardless
yeah.
of genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, hell, the Common Heart, they've been going strong for a really long time. And
Yeah.
it's cool that they have that radio appreciation.
Yeah, definitely. You guys get any radio love?
That's so. Like I was gonna
Talk
say,
your shit.
No, I'm not talking shit. I'm not talking shit because
tough.
I do get it. But like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like they do support local music totally. But when something comes across as kind of experimental, they're like, no thanks. Or it's got to be bananas.
Well, the other
Like-
the other issue at hand is even if it's just once, a lot of our songs don't clear being explicit or not explicit. So that becomes a tough.
Eat my shorts,
if-
America.
If you go down even just our Spotify playlist, you'll be like, oh, there's one. The next batch of songs we have, I think we have a couple that will clear. So we might change that.
I have been
radio
trying to
station
make a
aspect.
conscious effort to not that I avoid swearing because I definitely still curse in songs, but trying not to like approaching just saying it differently. Not that I have any problem with cursing, not that I don't think it's a good tool. It definitely is great for emotion, but I've just been trying to like just not do it as much.
Sure.
Also because like I'll show a song to my dad and he'll be like, why do you gotta curse so much? Like, did you hear anything else?
It's not even a lot though. Like through the majority of them.
Yeah, I
A
was
lot
gonna
of-
say, like, you know, like I can't say that I'm like intimately familiar with all your music, but I don't remember it being
No,
very explicit.
and
But
it's
it'll-
not. But I'm saying just because it is so like
It's still not radio friendly.
I
It's-
don't.
You
like,
say it one time and that's it. You no longer clear that standard. So
Well, I was gonna say like I don't think it's like our music is like strange, but like I did forget what I was gonna say. Shoot.
Well,
Skip it.
it's just
Pass.
interesting that there isn't like a real place for, I don't want to say a place for individuality because individuality is different from every creator, but there is still like an interesting threshold where stuff like Back Alley Sound or Normal Creatures, like it can't, there's no like mainstream pocket for it right now. Like there isn't like a radio station that might be willing to take a chance on it.
Right.
Or like when you try to explain it to somebody, it's like, I can't put it into one sentence where it's like a genuine expression of what the music is. It's like we're a live band.
yeah.
It, you know, there's guitars. Sometimes there's pretty singing. Sometimes there's angry yelling. Sometimes it's loud. Sometimes it's quiet.
Well, sometimes that's how you. Yeah, I mean, that's how you have to take in art in general.
Yeah.
You know, you don't take it at face value as it's this or it's that. Sometimes the beautiful part of it is taking it in and seeing the different parts of it and being like, oh, I appreciate it for what it is. A lot of times people don't have that mentality, but I know we as artists do.
Yeah.
So
I remembered that I was gonna say, and it ties in that not that I think that our music is strange, but I've been wanting to not curse because I don't want there to be a deterrent from you taking it in, and like how like you just hear the cursing and you're like, it's just not my thing, and like not that again I don't think there's any problem with cursing. I still curse in plenty of our songs, but I was just trying to write more songs where it's like there's no like blocks. Like I just want you to take it in.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, I find that sometimes from like a lyrical perspective, I like catch myself trying not to swear because sometimes I find that like it's like a cheap way to fill like a syllable gap that I need. Because I always think about like when I'm like writing lyrics for songs, if it's like something that's gonna be more like rap, I'm like always trying to figure out what the rhythm is gonna be and then finding words to fit the rhythm. And like sometimes it is so easy to just be like, damn, like it really ain't that serious, but if I said something was fucking something instead of something was just something,
right,
I could use those extra 2 syllables.
Right. And it's a tool. So it's just like just do you want to use that tool or do you want to sharpen another tool?
Yeah.
And I've just been trying to like just be more like onto other tools. What a terrible analogy. I'll show myself out.
You were right there. You got it.
I mean, we kind of landed, but I'm just disappointed.
Well, you know, the interesting thing too about your band, to talk more about Back Alley Sound, and I'm sure we've talked about this before on oh no, Jafar fell.
Jafar.
I forgot
Jeffries.
I forgot Jeffrey was there.
Jafar's.
Sorry, Jeffrey.
I blew it.
Oh my God, what was I saying? So the interesting thing about, you know, Back Alley Sound is just all of the influence from the different people that have like come and gone in the band throughout the years and the career that all come into one thing. Because like, you know, like Miles on the surface, I feel like I could probably sit and talk with you. Like if I had never met you before, right? Yeah. And just like, what kind of music do you like? You know, and we sat down and chatted for an hour.
We could talk about it all
I might not
day.
expect the band, like a band that you play in, to sound like Back Alley Sound, but also it makes sense at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So like, you know, musically, like, you know, where do you see like how are you pulling in your influences into this? And are some of these like left field influences in your guitar playing what's actually ruining Back Alley Sound and not making you mainstream acceptable?
That is exactly what it is. You
It's
know,
all your fault, Mom.
The space noise and the multi-layer tracking is what fucking ruined it all.
It's Miles dragging his heel in the recording process because we needed to get that bass sound just a little bit spacey.
Right.
No, but it is honestly worth it.
It is a really fun balance because like when you're heavily influenced by certain things, then in the aspect of a group, you have to figure out, okay, this works and this is just, that was an idea. It didn't work.
Totally.
And there's times where some of the things that I'll put together, I think are way too far out of left field and it'll be the thing that sticks. And that makes me really happy. And then sometimes the really structured things don't fit. It all depends on, you know, what the song calls for. And that's part of maturing as a musician is sometimes you get way over the top in an idea and you, at the end of the day, it's like, well, it doesn't serve the song.
Yeah.
And that's been a fun process.
I think it's interesting for people that, you know, especially like guitar players, that are very into the effects and the layers and very much like the guitar, you know, it's a star in its own right, but it's not the only thing happening in the song.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with something that's very lyrical, like you need to have space for everything to breathe.
Right.
Otherwise it's just absolute chaos, right?
You're pulling people's ear.
Yeah.
Now they can't understand the focal point of, you know, the lyrics. Or they can't hear the drums because there's 17 fucking tracks on top of what was going on.
You know, I'm really curious, like what the two of you may have like learned from each other or been exposed to over the years. Like Shark, is there like any music that you weren't really aware of that maybe like, you know, Miles could have maybe brought into your world, like things that you were exposed to?
I feel like Miles and me had crossovers more that would just like appear. That was just like, because fun fact, Back Alley Sound was actually started by me and Miles in his room.
It was.
Mm-hmm. We just started in his closet. Anyway, but like, good night, folks. No, so we, like Black Milk, like,
yeah,
when we found out that like that was like something that like because like not a lot of people know who Black Milk is.
They should.
They absolutely should. But like finding that kind of crossover, seeing the sounds that like we both liked, and then like more like it was less. He had less of an influence, I'd say, on the like on some like he just really put into perspective how to like approach stuff, like just keep going,
like with like structure and like putting like music together.
Yeah, like where it's just like throw it out there, like just see, like like you're not gonna like get anything done if you don't do something.
Sure, I imagine too, like kind of like more of like a jamming perspective. Whereas like if you're like approaching things like I'm assuming like so like the worlds that kind of crossed here are like the hip hop and the rock worlds, right? Where when you're like writing like lyrics and thinking of hip hop, it's very those songs aren't generally structured or come out of like just jamming and riffing, right? It's like very like like put together a loop the loop
right.
and work off of that.
Yeah.
Whereas when you start introducing like organic instruments, I mean, you could still loop. I know you're,
Right.
I know little loopy boy over here. I get
Loopy
it.
boy.
But you
Likes
know,
his loops.
like still like, you know, you could come up with just like really random fluid ideas and be a lot more organic and change things on the spot, where it's a little bit harder to do that when you're working all like electronic on like a beat or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool how our process has worked out, because I feel like a lot of times we find more common ground than we realize. Like
Totally.
there are certain things like he'll be listening to an album and I'll be listening to that same album at work and we'll be like, oh yeah, we're listening to this.
Right, it just so like happens that we both like found this thing. Like that's what I was trying to say.
Like
Black Milk was like
yeah.
I didn't know anybody who knew Black Milk, and then we just so happened to like both like Black Milk.
I would,
so cool.
I wouldn't say it's the only reason. It's one of many reasons of why Back Alley Sound started, but Black Milk with a full band when I saw them at Spirit changed my whole concept of what like rap, R&B, hip hop could be in a full band setting.
Yeah.
And seeing that, I was like, fuck yeah, now I get it. And yeah.
Yeah, I always, because I saw, same kind of thing, but I saw Childish Gambino, like early days. He had a band, and I was like, that's it. Like, that is it. And I was like, if I'm going to rap, then I'm going to have a band. And then Back Alley Sound just kind of happened, like, years later, almost like 5 or 6 years, like, after that show. It's just like, it just happened, and you got to just jump on it. But, like, I always knew it was a band or I'm not doing it.
Super interesting. I find that, you know, I started just like by myself rapping on stage with an iPod playing the backtracks. And that's obviously evolved over the years. And there was a point when it got to me having a band, and then like I was juggling, I would play some shows with a band and some shows solo.
Yeah.
And like I absolutely hated playing solo shows after I had the band. It never bothered me beforehand, but
Right.
like once I had that little taste of what it was like to have the band on stage with me, I was like, it's so hard to go back to this now.
There is a big dynamic change. Like you can do it as a solo artist. Like you can sit there with an MPC Live and do everything. And I know you have all the toys that if anyone was going to do it, it would be you.
Yeah, I mean, I've started doing some solo shows again. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it ain't
sick to see.
the same.
Even just
I
live,
get it. That was super sick to see. I bet that rules.
even just live
hope so.
drums
I'm
behind an artist, it's like, fuck. Now it just gives you an edge over the crowd, over your energy. You have more to pull through. You know, it's
Yeah, and like I find too, it's like I'm very much into production, and I like to give people a show when I can.
yeah.
And it's really hard to give people a show when it's just you. You know, I like that, you know, like I have a band with talented musicians, and like people don't have to look at me all the time. They can look at the people playing the drums or the guitar or the bass, or, you know, it's not all me. It's like I get like way too in my head about things. I don't want people to look at me all the time.
I definitely think people also subconsciously too, like it becomes when you have a band as a rapper or somebody who raps, to have a band, like it makes it less about you as a performer and more about the songs being performed.
Yeah.
Which pass. I was gonna talk shit, but I don't want to talk shit.
Okay. I find that the thing that is really hard, or that is always, it's not hard, it's fine, I can deal with it, but it's annoyed me over the years where it's like, I understand that there are plenty of people that rap that like don't produce their own tracks. So when people were seeing them perform, it's actually probably more common for people to either just rap on top of beats that friends have produced or beats that they've paid for or beats that they've just ripped offline, whatever. It is what it is. It's fine. But like, I produce all my own stuff, and I never want to explicitly say like, oh, hey, by the way, all of this background music that you're hearing, I made too.
It's mine.
But it's like, it's like, I don't want to say that, but I always wondered too. I know like a lot of people just be like, oh, like just the rapper guy. Like it's always been the case where like people would ask me like, who makes your beats or where do you get your stuff? I was like, I make them. They're like, oh, I didn't realize that. It's like, yeah, I do all this shit.
That is strange because I like literally never got the impression that like it wasn't all you. Even before that, like it was like confirmed it was all you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of people
perspective is
have
nuts.
seen that. Yeah, I mean, maybe I think that I don't know what it is. I don't know.
We can never know.
Yeah, you can know. You can't control what like how another person interprets or perceives your art. Or your music.
Absolutely not.
Like it's completely out of your hands.
Right.
So fuck it. Why bother worrying about it?
Totally.
So right now with Back Alley Sound,
heard of it,
and you're in your 4.5 piece band.
4.5.
What are you up to? You writing songs?
Yeah, so we've been sitting on a bunch of songs for a while that we were like...
Okay, so that hasn't changed.
No, absolutely not. Please. But...
At least some of them are finished.
But now... but that goes back to our very early conversation about maturing. Now that we have matured as adults, we have a very more realistic approach to getting these songs executed. So we have started... recording. We have songs coming out very soon. We have more, but we're thinking of like putting a project out in parts just because like it keeps us on like a schedule and it just feels more like digestible that way.
Yeah, I mean, I find that like I'm an old school guy and I love albums. Like I'm the type of person I will listen to an album.
Same.
Yeah.
But I also know the reality of the situation where I've released plenty of albums over the years, and it's always like, those first few tracks got the plays,
right?
And then it's like it dies out, and like the pessimist could be like, oh well, they thought this was whack. The realist in me is like, oh well, their drive was probably only 20 minutes, and then they went to the grocery store and forgot they didn't put it back on.
They've got so much shit to do.
Yeah,
they've got so many things to do. If they can get through an album, that's great, but like people just don't have the time or the attention span anymore.
Yeah, it's like us even expecting people to take an hour to listen to this whole podcast is insane.
Right, it's so crazy. But if you're here this far, you are
Thanks for
sick
hanging
in the
out.
fucking head. Where's my camera? You're dumb. Get a job, hippie.
But yeah, there's just with that being said, I think as much as I don't know what I'm going to do with this Normal Creatures record, because we got a whole record written and we're going to start recording it. And I don't know if I want to do it, how I want to like release it to the world. Yeah. I had this idea of like maybe what I'll do, the way that it's released digitally and the way it's released in the real world are just two different things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Where it's like, hey, maybe like you can get this entire album, like you can buy a vinyl, it has the whole fucking record. If you want to hear the whole fucking record, you could buy it now.
Yeah.
Or I'm just going to release the song one by one for the next 10 months online.
Right.
That's a really good idea.
And that's very cool.
Yeah.
Because they're almost like two different worlds anyways.
Right.
Right? You know, it's like
It is with algorithms
and
everything. Like if you put out a full project, most of the time people won't take the entire time to listen to the whole thing front to back. No, but you know,
yeah.
a large amount of people don't listen to albums front to back, and that's, you know, that's just the world we live in right now. So
We're thinking like chunks of doing it as like an EP every couple of months to be like, here's 3 songs, go out and live your life. We'll be back with 3 more songs.
Yeah. I think the thing that is this, like, I hate how messy it looks on a digital perspective where it's like, I don't want somebody to go onto my Normal Creature Spotify and just see like 10 singles.
Yeah.
right.
I want it to be a little bit more cohesive.
Right.
But I'm probably the only fucking person that's thinking like that.
No,
you know?
No, not at all.
Dude.
And also, I fucking like, I hate when like, if I'm like on like my like Spotify release radar, it's such a pet peeve of mine when like, oh, an artist I've never heard of shows up. And I'm like, this song is sick. And then I go on their page and it's just like that one song.
Yeah.
And then one other song that they released like 6 months ago. I'm like, damn, like I wanted to hear some stuff. Like I want to hear a whole album. And I also hate it when like an artist that I follow like drops singles and I'm like, okay, cool. Can't wait for the album. And another one, can't wait for the album. Can't wait for the album. And then by the time the album comes out, I'm like, oh, I've actually heard half of this album already.
Right.
There's just actually just a few new songs. It kind of like the buzzkill of
Totally.
like,
Yeah.
I like hearing like a whole chunk of new music from an artist that I really like. So I don't know. But as like the way that like we're all real artists, I suppose. But the way that like
Jealous.
the way that like big artists operate and the way that like, you know, bands like us who are like, you know, we're still like kind of working from the ground up. The way that people interact with our music is going to be different than the way people interact with like the Mars Volta or like, you know, another one of our like big favorite bands, right?
Yeah.
Like I can
The Wiggles.
Yes, totally. You know, like I know that there are people that fuck with what I do, people that will support me.
Yeah.
But there's not like a mountain of people knocking down my door. Like they're like, I need to hear the new album now.
Right.
I'm sure people are going to be excited to hear it, but they might be excited to listen to 2 or 3 songs at a time. Maybe not 10. So
I think
your approach ain't bad. My approach ain't. There's no right or wrong way to do
right or
that.
wrong
Everything
at
is
all.
different now. There are no rules. We're done. The rules are gone.
but hopefully,
just do something and just pray it works.
Yeah, I think that like most importantly too, the thing to always remember is just to make sure that the music's actually good.
Yeah. Totally.
It's so easy to get caught up in like all of the other bullshit that sometimes it's like, oh yeah, like I spent so much time thinking about like what's the album cover gonna be? How are we gonna release it? How are people gonna hear it? And it's like, oh, I haven't actually been thinking about the song that much. You know,
Well,
the most important part.
That's what always gives me comfort in like all of it is like it's like especially with the new stuff. Like I genuinely love it, and like I'm like even take like pride out of it. Like I really like it. So like that's what always like even when I'm like like this kind of like I wish that like we had like this or that. It's still just like dude like even if it doesn't happen, which is totally fine. It's just like at least you like what you do.
Yeah.
Like genuinely like it.
I think that honestly, like that's kind of the hidden key. You know, there's always this like people are looking for, I don't want to say like a cheat code, but they're like, you know, what is like the secret to success? And I think a lot of it is just like having so much love and confidence in what you do and being able to like show that in the art to other people. Because nobody wants to interact with something that they think is like fake or they think that other people don't enjoy, you know? So it's like people, what's the phrase? Like, it's like there's some sort of like stupid, like, you know, like inspirational quote type meme phase thing, but like people are like attracted to confidence, I guess, in some way.
Yeah.
Well, and like if you're not like having fun and like enjoying it. Why should I? Like, and that kind of clicked for me. Like, I even look back at like early Back Alley Sound days, and it was like, just like why are you trying so hard? Like, it's just, or like not like in a sense of like trying to like convey this like thing that's just like, who cares, dude?
Yeah.
I think that's been I think that's been a fun part of our writing process. Like, we have a couple new songs that are they're structured, but there's not a weight of things we've done previously. Like, it's just fresh ideas and different styles and different approaches. And it's like, wow, this is really cool because we're not forced into writing the way we've written before, you know? And the position we've kind of found ourselves in is just that of, you know, don't put too much weight on it and you'll get something so much more organic and fresh and inspiring. And it's been really cool. We have 3 songs that one of them, can I say, will possibly be out by the small show?
We're trying. Lord knows we're trying.
We just have to get it mastered.
Yeah, I'm trying to drop a Creatures track before that show too.
Are you?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Very
Well,
cool.
Yeah, we were
It's
so
on.
close to finishing recording it, but Evan's quad cortex shit the bed.
Oh,
Yeah.
First off, shout out to Quad Cortex. I'm a Kemper
to
uses,
Evan.
but I've wanted
Yeah.
the Quad Cortex is pretty fucking cool.
It is really cool, but it's definitely temperamental.
Just a firmware issue.
Yeah. But hopefully we'll have that back soon, and we'll get the guitars tracked. I mean, everything else is pretty close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like we don't even really need to. We have like guitar tracks that are recorded, but we
Right.
just, we're gonna freshen it up a bit.
Yeah. Right.
You know. So yeah. Anyways, long story short, maybe we'll both have something out.
Wouldn't that
Check
be
yes,
cool?
Juliet.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, again, that show, for anybody that came in late, that's not how podcasts work. But if anybody came in late,
For anyone who skipped to 58 minutes.
it's December 15th, Back Alley Sound, Normal Creatures, Dream the Heavy, Hemlock for Socrates, along with a bunch of local vendors and whatnot, all that sort of stuff. The Winter Wonder Ball, Mr. Small's Theater. Hit us up, Normal Creatures, for tickets. Don't buy tickets from Back Alley Sound.
Do not. We will.
They're fake.
We will use it on unhealthy food and marijuana. Don't do it.
So, aside from all of the band things, what have the two of you been up to in your personal lives? Staying out of trouble?
Staying out of trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other creative endeavors going on outside of Back Alley Sound for either of you guys?
Just writing.
No.
Adulting. I'm running an electrical business. And I kind of live on a farm now.
Hell yeah.
Much different from the South Side life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's that change been for you?
Probably the most peaceful transition ever. There was a lot of craziness for a lot of years, and having, silence away from commotion with a great partner, a great family, has been really healthy
Hell yeah.
and just life-saving.
Do you find that you're able to focus more time on guitar stuff now, or do you do a little bit less because of just life?
I think it's a little less, but the time that is there is a lot more like the reason why I set out to make music, as opposed to there were a lot of years of a rat race of playing musics in 10 projects and chasing certain things that it's like you were split up, or I was split up so much that it was like giving 10% to all these things, as opposed to honing it back and being like, well, this is why I love this. And now when I sit down and I write, I'm like not putting pressure on it, just playing. And it comes out a lot more. I find myself writing things that I'm much more proud of.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shark, what are you
Different.
up to these days? What's your writing process like if If you're so you're only back alley sound. There's never going to be a solo album.
No, probably not. Just because like I wouldn't know, like if I ever did a solo album, I would hit up everybody in Back Alley Sound to help me do it, and then it's a Back Alley Sound album. So what am I gonna do?
It's basically like the Haley Williams solo album is basically a Paramore
Right,
album if you read the liner notes.
So it's just like, like, and it's like there's nothing that like I want separated from like Back Alley Sound. Like it's just like I don't have anything to say as a solo artist that I wouldn't say as a member of Back Alley Sound.
Sure. I find that that's like the hardest thing about like me trying to do solo music. Like I found that I put together like this solo record over the last year, and it was really easy for me to do because I was out of town so much. I just did it out of boredom.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I just needed something to fucking do, like while I was like off work and stuff. And like, but like I was like, I don't really know like what to like write about. It also gets harder, like, because I have like Grey Walker and Normal Creatures, and it's like, okay, what the fuck am I gonna write about?
Sure.
And like it's like, like because like I don't want to write the same song over and over again.
Right.
But like also like I'm in like a fortunate position where it's like things are like fine right now.
Yeah.
I don't really have like that young angst to tap into anymore.
I get you. I know what you're saying.
But like there is like the music that I make has an attitude to it.
Totally. Like there is like emotion in it. It isn't this like I got like bars. It's like no, like I have like a subject matter
feelings
and like right emotion behind it.
Yeah, but it's just like things are like fine. I don't know. Maybe that's like what I just need to tap into that. Maybe it'd be like things are fine. I bought a nice couch.
That's kind of what like
I'm catching up on old TV shows on Amazon Prime.
That's what you got to dive into,
Totally. Well, like we like because that's was part of our like maturing process too. At least for me, it's like finding things to write about that were less about what I was going through and more about like what I go through that like people go through. Like I'm trying to generalize it more. Still be like honest about it, but like and personal. But I'm just trying to like talk about more like broader stuff. Like I'm trying to talk about the world instead of like bring you into like my world.
Yeah, there's like a very fine line between like, you don't want to write things that are so broad that it's just like boring.
Totally.
But also if you make things that are like too personal, it's like uncomfortable for people to listen to.
Right.
And I've been very fucking guilty of that. I've been incredibly guilty of that.
I definitely definitely have not put out stuff just because it's like, I don't know, just like there's like stuff I have or like even when like I'll like write a verse where it's like just like a bunch of like bars and it's like fuck them, they suck, I'm the fucking man, and then like I like zoom out and it's like this is bananas. Who is this for?
Who hurt you?
Exactly.
Who were you mad at?
Right. Where it's just like, okay, this is a thing with me. This is like, why put this? This isn't about anything.
Yeah.
This is just me being like, I'm the freaking man. And that's just, it's dumb. I just don't, well, like, I don't like it.
Sure. I've found myself too, like there's actually a song that I wrote on that's part of the batch of the New Creature songs. In like lyrically, I felt like it was something that I really needed to get out at the time.
Very cool.
But I mean, I wrote it like over a year ago, and now like I don't feel very comfortable with it.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think it was important at the time and I'm glad that I wrote it and I think it's good.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it needs to be put out into the world.
Interesting.
So I'm very curious. I'm like even part of me is just like, I might just like, I like the song musically.
Yeah.
It's like, I just feel like I need to like rewrite all the words for this song.
I get what you're saying.
Because it's just like, I'm like separated from it.
Because you're coming from a different place now a year later.
Totally. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like, it was a song that like I wrote about like a relationship I was in falling apart. Mm-hmm. And I wrote it at the time as it was falling apart. Like like, and like I was in a perspective too. It was like also written from the perspective of me thinking that the relationship wouldn't end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's still like just like weird, right? And now like it's done. It's over.
Not telling you how to live your life. You should fucking put it out.
And things are fine now.
Yeah.
But it's just it feels really weird, or from a personal perspective. So either I feel like I need to change it, or maybe like you were saying, make it a little bit more broad, pull some of the more personal details out of it, and find a way to like make the narrative of that story be a little less
I would also
specific, right?
consider like what's the word I'm looking for? Ademming it? That's not that. That's definitely not the right word. Amending it.
Mending.
No, not really. But of
You're
just
close.
like adding either like a prologue or like an epilogue to
Yeah,
it.
well, this is the other issue, right? Because like that song, that was the last song that I had written for the Normal Creature for this album, because we had like kind of like got all this stuff together. Then we went on the drummer hunt, which is like where we are now, where we're like now we're playing shows. But I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my god.
God bless you.
Bless you.
We were on the thank you. We were on that drummer hunt, right? But what am I saying? Oh my god, my brain.
The drummer hunt.
We're gonna edit this.
That rules.
So
Wait, I'm catching up.
I wrote that song.
Right.
Right? All right. So I wrote that song for Normal Creatures, and then we go back to me talking about that solo record that I wrote. So I started working on that solo material like right after. So some of the solo material and some of that stuff that's already been released is kind of about the same subject matter.
Yeah.
So now I don't want to release another song that's about that shit. Like come on, bro. Like get over it.
get it.
I'm over it. It's just like this is something, like a bunch of shit that I wrote at this time
I get what
period.
you're saying now.
You know, and now it's like that's like not my life anymore.
Right.
You know, it's like
You
even
got to
though-
make some cuts then.
Yeah, you know, so
I get what you're
I just
saying.
feel like I
Or
don't want
broaden
it to,
it.
yeah, I don't want it to feel like I'm hung up on something that I'm not.
Right.
You know, it's like, and nobody else is gonna probably even analyze that in the way that I would.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. But the thing is, like, if I have to be on stage performing this and telling people to like listen to this, I can't confidently like perform that track or tell people
'cause you're not
check
coming
out
from
this
the
new
same
song.
place.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you know, I wouldn't feel comfortable telling people to listen to that.
That all comes down to how you know, even if that relationship is over, you know, do you still feel in that moment like how you felt when you wrote it?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think the song. I think it's beautiful. I feel really good about the lyrics. I think it worked really good.
Right.
But it still doesn't mean the world needs to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, artists definitely fall there. You can
I
tell
thought it was a good song. I don't know.
a good song is
Maybe
a good
I just
song.
need. I'd probably try to tweak the lyrics first before completely rewriting it. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also kind of doesn't fit in with the rest of the album either. Like thematically,
Right.
It is kind of a weird outlier
Yeah.
thematically. But again, who's going to pay attention to that shit? It's not like I wrote a concept album.
I do love concept albums.
Yeah.
We try to do a concept album, but it is an undertaking.
Watch, the first time you perform that, someone's going to be like, I see the theme and I call bullshit. they'll just be like, I see through the whole facade. And you'll be like, damn, I thought I got away with it.
No, we're doing it's a bit of a concept thing. I'm stoked for the show. I have some silly ideas for our live show.
Love
Yeah.
it. You have a great live show,
Yeah.
Thank you.
of course.
Hopefully it lives up to what you remember.
There's just a lot of TLC, and like you can tell, and I love that shit.
I'm excited to see it with someone behind the kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally be doing it, to have a band.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm stoked on it. It'll be cool. I think that not to keep talking about my band, but I'm
That
definitely
was our whole mission walking in.
I'm really, really happy to be playing like a show with you guys again.
Hell yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that was like the one thing that was really cool. Like whenever I first found you guys, I was like, oh cool, there's another band that we could play with.
Yes, yeah, 100%. I definitely
Where that
remember
makes
that
sense.
too.
Yeah, I was like, it's just like, then that's it. Then like there hasn't been any others since. You know what I mean?
We're
There's
not,
some-
I mean,
we're
there's
not
bands that we
alone.
could play with.
There's-
Can you shout out some bands that I might not be aware of?
So like guys who do like full band hip hop. There's like Abstract Theory.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He'll do it. Shout out to Louis.
Yeah.
he'll do a full band on occasion. He just like, I don't know, like he slips right in it, and it's just like he like always has it. Like I don't know, and it just like it like really elevates it. He kills it with the band. But like full band hip hop, like it comes and goes. But like people are like doing it more, but not like consistently. We're like, this is my band. Where it's just like, hey, I have a show. Let me just get as many guys as I know who like play instruments. We'll, like, learn the set, and like you can tell when that happens, and it's cool. Like at least you're putting in like that kind of effort. But when you see someone who's like, oh, these guys like they're like a unit, you can just tell, and like, it's magic.
There is a lot of coming and going now that I think about it. Like there's a lot of artists that will play with a full project, and then you'll see them at the next show and it's just them. Mm-hmm. There's not, I don't know why that never clicked into my brain, but there's a lot of artists in Pittsburgh that go that route.
It's a lot of fucking work to keep a band together.
Yeah, it is. For sure.
And like you, if you're the guy who's got the band that comes and goes, like you can get more opportunities, which is great.
Yeah.
Because like you're more of like a fluid performer, whereas like we, like if like
we're stuck with each other,
one of us can't do the show, we're not doing the show.
Yeah.
So, like it's just how it is.
Yeah.
So like you have to make a lot more sacrifices, but like the skill set I got out of it was 100% worth it.
Yeah, that was a hard decision that I decided to make whenever, because there was a while where it was like I would do shows as Sykes and shows as Sykes and the New Violence, and I would do some of the same songs, and sometimes it might just be me, sometimes it might just be me and Mandy, sometimes it was the whole band. Like it'd be a mix of things, and I just kind of made a call where it's like I don't want to do this anymore because I don't like people to see like a half version of what this is supposed to be.
You're right.
So that was when it was like, I'm going to completely get rid of the name. Like we're going to give it a band name, and it is a band now. I will not play these songs. Well, thanks.
Yeah, of course. I know that I've been giving you a lot of compliments.
You're very kind.
But I do love that name.
Very, very, very kind.
For sure.
Yes.
Don't get carried away. Where is it?
So you've all grown up now.
Well,
you're all big boys.
We are trying to.
In some way, shape, or form.
There's a conscious effort to try to grow up.
Yeah. So what do you, actually, with all of that being said, kind of rewinding for a moment, because we were talking about like lyrical themes and stuff like that. I don't know if we ever finally like fully touched on like what you're thinking about like writing like now in terms of like how has like your life shift like motivated like the way that you're writing, aside from like trying not to be too egotistical or
no, I get
that sort of stuff.
So like that shift is more what I'm like writing about, of just like really like coming to terms with like certain things, accepting certain things. That's the same exact thing I just said. Like being honest about like what I want and what I wanted, and as well as like doing like I want the songs to be less like our old stuff was just a lot of like I'm trying to write less verses and more songs, and when that switch kind of happened, it really like changed how I approach writing. And like I was always very like the like economy of words was like always important to me, but now especially, and I'm more like, not that I'm not proud of the old stuff, but I'm so proud of the like new stuff just because of like just like you can see the growth. Like I think people will hear the new stuff, whoever listens to it, if they heard the old stuff, they'll be like, oh, like they like something changed. And like I'm excited about that more than anything, and talking about what caused like that change.
As a writer, I find myself, I think in like overanalyze like everything that I write, which I mean, we pretty much just had like a 5-minute conversation about that, right? But and like I'm not the type of like off the cuff freestyle type
I'm
guy
not either.
you know, like and like I could kind of see that in you, you
Right.
know, like I think that we both have friends that are very like probably mutual friends that are much just like just get in front of a mic, do whatever. It sounds so cool. It's part of their attitude.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well,
come on, man, get on. And
so-
it's just like, bro, I have to have like a therapy session with myself every time I think about writing anything.
100%. And like, there's dudes who like you said, like that's who they are. And it's so sick. That is not who I am. And if I did it, you'd be like, get him out of here. Who gave this kid a microphone?
Yeah. You know, but it's interesting though too, because it's like I find myself like connecting more ultimately with like people that are like telling stories that I can tell it took them some time to get it together.
Right.
You know, and
I
like,
love
and
the
like,
effort.
And people engage with music in different ways. It's like really interesting. Like there are like friends that I have even outside of hip hop, other like metal bands and things like that. And like they can write songs super fucking
crank
quick.
them out.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool that you can do that. And I don't mean to sound like a dick, but I can also kind of tell that you guys put that
Sure.
entire song together in a week.
Or it's
Right.
like,
It's like, yeah, you have new songs, but it's like, it just feels there's no care sometimes.
Right,
You can
right.
hear it.
I can tell that your songs to you are not as precious as my songs are to me, which is totally fine. And I'm not saying you, I'm saying just like
I get what you
people
mean.
in general. But
That was an attack.
no. Right at the finish line, suck a dick. No, but like, and like, I like when I can tell someone like they really cared about this, like start to
Right.
finish. It was a really they love this piece of art that they made,
And that-
and I think that like when that shows, it makes a giant difference.
And if you appreciate music in that way, you can tell when somebody's putting their soul out there. Like you can see when artists, bands, anything, assembly line their work.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure you've seen people operate in a way where it's something is written over the weekend and they do that 9 more times and there's their album.
Yeah.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you write that way, that's fucking cool. But you can tell when someone's heart and soul is in it.
Yeah,
no
I
matter
think
what.
it's interesting too because I think different people have like different values or different like meanings of what like art or creative expression is to them. And like, yeah, I guess I've just always been like very much like it's like I'm almost somebody that is like more obsessed with the process than the end result.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are just like, I just need to get to the end result.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I'm all foreplay, baby. You know, like I ain't worried about the finish line, but some
Right.
people are just like, I need to come now, and that's all I care about.
Amen, sister.
I don't know why I had to word it that way, but you know what I'm saying?
Worth it.
So, yes, I mean, with all of that being said, I really look forward to hearing the new Back Alley Sound album in about 4 years.
I was going to say what
4
year.
years. 4 years.
No, I hope that you can get something out before the show.
Yeah, we're trying.
And who knows? I mean, and so this podcast is actually going to be dropping the week of the show
It might be there.
as far as the scheduling goes. So
Yeah.
I probably, if I had my shit together, I would have been saying, come to the show this weekend. But, you know, at the moment it is November 19th when we're recording this.
Right.
But it's going to be out the week of the show. So maybe there is a song out now. Maybe not.
Well, if there is, go check it out.
I'll probably record a little extra stinger at the beginning of this.
All right.
I don't even know why did I say stinger?
Stinger?
Is that what
I
they
like
call
it.
it? Stinger.
A bumper?
Bumper.
Pass.
I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. as a wise man once said.
As a very wise man.
Actually, did R. Kelly do Bump and Grind?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
not a wise man. Never
man.
mind. Never made it as a wise man, couldn't cut it as R. Kelly.
We got him.
But maybe there's a new Normal Creature song and a new Back Alley song for you to check out.
Yeah.
I will let you know at the beginning of this episode, and you can listen to this in hindsight and laugh, because a lot of the time this is a good thing is we're just rolling with it. We really don't know what's going on.
No,
I try to put it out there that it may seem like my life is very organized and well put together. It's not. I am flying by the seat of my pants all the time. Most of the time, if you see me doing something that was productive, it may seem like I'm doing a lot at once. I'm not. I probably scrambled for like 2 weeks to get, or 2 hours beforehand to get this podcast out all the fucking time. Every time, like, there's been so many episodes this season that I've recorded. Like, I record everything well in advance.
Right.
And then I get caught up. And then all of a sudden, like, oh God, tomorrow's Wednesday.
Oh no.
So I'm like,
Dear
up till 2 a.m, like editing the episode and uploading it. But that's probably going to be the case of what happens here. Because I'm going to be busy putting together the fantastic live show that you're all the only way you're going to see is if you come to the show.
Well, hi to future Sykes. Thank you for editing this. We really appreciate you.
And when you're scrambling at 2 in the morning, just remember, we did it to ourselves.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
And,
We're so sorry.
We're so sorry.
well, I appreciate you guys coming on to
Thanks for
chat
having
today.
us.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to hear the new stuff. I'm excited to see you
Same.
guys. I'm excited to hang out.
Hell yeah. Right back
and
at you.
And huge shout outs to the guys from Dream the Heavy 4.
Yes,
Fuck yeah.
absolutely.
It's funny, we're talking all this shit about having a hard time finding opportunities and
I know,
playing
and
in real
these guys,
venues. And meanwhile, these
out
guys
of
are giving
the
us an
goodness
opportunity.
of their heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're giving us an opportunity to not only play a show together, but to play a show together in a
good
very,
show.
very nice space.
Yeah.
I mean,
So shout outs to Dream the
they're
Heavy.
great. Join that clap, that applause. Yes. Thank
Episode was with Dream the Heavy. I already recorded it. So
well, shout outs
for a
to
professional guy.
Shout
over here.
out.
Paul and TK.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. And thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for having
Hell
us.
yeah. So with all of that being said, I guess it's outro time. I don't have the outro music on here. Why not?
We can pretend.
I'll put it in later. And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for being here. Again, be sure to come out to the show this weekend at Mr. Small's Theater if you are in the Pittsburgh area. I will be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Brian Sykes-Howell. Start the Beat is the podcast. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. Peace. And we did it. That's a podcast.
Fuck yeah. I got to pee right now.
Oh, you could.
Me too. Mom, that's so funny. I had to piss too.
Like the last 15 minutes, I was like,
Oh no.
oh no.
We'll be right back.